Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Now, guys, a couple of months back, I gave everybody the chance to vote for episode 400, and when all was said and done, we were whittled down to 4 movies, and before we take a look at those, we have to start off with the movie you guys voted for 5th place. It is a movie from 2012. That movie is Where the Dead Go to Die. Now, I didn't know a whole lot about this movie going into all of this. I had seen the trailer. The only thing I could tell you about the movie based on the trailer is that, first of all, the movie is incredibly strange, and even though it was made in 2012, it has CG that looks like it was rendered in 1997. That's really, guys, all that I knew going in. And then before I started filming here, I opted to read the back, and this sounds a little bit stupid. Now, it could still be good. I have no fucking clue. I really don't. But, guys, everything back here, it doesn't sound that good, and similar to a few other films I have covered in the past, it really just sounds like somebody's trying way too hard to be shocking, but doesn't actually know what it means to shock. Now, this could still be shocking, it could still be interesting, it could still be entertaining. I do not know. And the only way I'm going to find out is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm gonna do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Where the Dead Go to Die. You know, guys, this movie has just started, but I don't think I've seen a more perfect storm of failure in my entire life. We have awful CG, terrible acting, this writing is shit, the music sucks. Good God, guys, there is nothing here in terms of positives. Everything here is just absolutely shit. And I've got another, what, like 90 minutes of this shit almost? Oh my God. And now the evil demon dog's just bitten off a guy's dick. And you know what? It would probably have been a little bit more interesting if any of this made any sense, or if there was any reason to even care about these characters, but the movie kind of failed at doing both of those things, and so it was just shock for the sake of being shocking, and it wasn't even shocking at, that. It fails at being shocking when it rips off a character's dick. Process that, guys. We're not even past the first story yet, and we have already devolved to a child fucking a demon dog in the ass. And yet, guys, there's still nothing shocking here. There is still nothing good. There's still more of this shit I'm gonna have to sit through. And if the rest of this film is anything like, this, guys, is going to suck, and I can almost guarantee you it's not going to get any fucking better. I have no idea what the fuck I'm seeing, guys. That apparently was supposed to be a sex scene. I have no clue what the fuck is going on in it. I don't know why these people don't have any faces. I don't know why their hair is clipping into their shirts. I don't know why the fuck this shitty film even fucking exists right now. So, guys, we are now up to the 3rd story in this retarded little anthology film. I certainly hope it's better than the first 2. However, at this point, I'm having a whole lot of doubts about this thing being even fucking watchable. So, am I to believe that the fucking hooker from earlier is the little girl in this segment who's being forced into kiddie porn by her dad? Alright, well, that means then we already know how her fucking story ends. Why? Oh my God. Guys, I really wanted this thing to at least be kind of interesting, but it's not. This thing, guys, is like the pinnacle of fucking stupid. And I really do not think that the last half hour is gonna fix that. I swear, guys, this entire film is just a waste of time. This film has yet to give me even anything worthy of being interesting or decent. It's just been a whole lot of, like, bizarre fucking, like, imagery that doesn't really serve any purpose. A whole lot of shock. Well, a whole lot of, correction. It's a whole lot of attempted shock that fails at being, shocking. And ultimately, guys, this thing has just been a waste of an hour and 20 minutes. I cannot wait for this fucker to be done. Well, guys, that was where the dead go to die. Let me shut that garbage off. Jesus. Fuck. Okay. Guys, I keep on saying, I'm not doing another one of these stupid shock, films because they fail at being shocking. And every single time I think, hey, perhaps maybe I can give it another chance. I'm proven once more that no one knows how to make a shock film anymore. No one knows how to make anything actually shocking or creepy or weird. And instead we wind up with just garbage. We wind up with this shit. Okay. Why don't we start with the biggest problem the film has? Worse than the acting, worse than the writing. I will get to those. The animation. I've talked in the past, guys, about films with really bad CG. CG that looks like it wouldn't be fit for a PS2 game. All of those look like solid gold compared to this. Guys, the shitty CG in films such as Sharktopus look as if they were made by Pixar compared to this shit. This stuff, guys, is so bad that it honestly wouldn't even look... It, guys, is bad by Sega CD standards. Alright, I never thought I'd have to, using fucking, like, CG and, like, video game comparisons, whittle something down to Sega CD levels. That's what this hit. And this fucker was made in 2012. Okay? There is no excuse for a movie to look this bad. At all. Being made in 2012. None. Okay? We have character models that are constantly glitching and stuttering, and there's hair and blood clipping through everything. Our backgrounds look basically as if they were rendered like once over, were given a really quick fucking texture and nothing else. In fact, that also is how a lot of the characters look. The person who worked on this, because this was animated by a single person, doesn't know how to keep anything constant in terms of blood, so we'll have certain shots where blood basically has the thickness of, like, syrup, and then we cut to another angle, and suddenly the blood has the fucking consistency of water, and it sometimes comes billowing out in these big bulbous blobs, and then other times it's actually, like, trickling down, but it never actually follows physics, because there is a character who is, like, poked in the eye, and blood's, like, pouring out of her face. Apparently the blood that's coming down her face is able to cover the top of her head and all of her hair and her shoulders, because she's completely drenched in blood, and that is her one and only wound, is the one in the eye. And as she's sitting there and she's fucking, like, slumped over and crying, you'd think the blood would be pouring straight down. Instead, the blood is still running along her cheek, except when they cut to a certain angle, you can see that the blood is at least 2 inches away from her fucking cheek. Why? Because everything here was rendered fucking terribly, and it makes the movie almost unwatchably ugly. This thing, guys, could have easily been done well. Even, guys, done well by a single person. If that single person actually knew what the fuck they were doing, they actually put some goddamned effort in, if they actually fucking tried. But, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, the guy who made this film, his name is Jimmy Screamer, Claus, did not try, did not care, put zero effort into fucking everything, and you can tell totally solely off of the animation. But hey, I could probably rail on the fucking animation all goddamn day. It's that fucking bad. There are so many problems here. I could totally cover all of them, and I'd still be here for about 6 hours. So why don't we focus on writing next? What fucking writing? This thing, guys, is trying to tell three different stories, but none of these stories has any real place to fucking go. The only one that's got any, like, level of actual depth to it, that actually feels like there was some level of effort, is probably the third story, because it's the longest goddamn one. And even that one there is kind of sort of fucking jointed and weird, because we have a character who is a fucking Siamese twin, and he has a parasitic twin growing off the side of his head. Well, it's actually just the face of his twin growing off the side of his head. His parents care more about the facial growth than they do their actual son. So anytime that he does anything, they basically are blaming him for making his brother look, bad. And he is in love with a girl next door whose father tortures her and puts her into kiddie porn. And we actually get to see the fucking kiddie porn, which is nothing short of disgusting and nauseating, except it's not fucking, except guys, it honestly is more fucking disgusting and nauseating, because this sick, twisted fuck decided he needed to render this shit. So we constantly are seeing a naked fucking child's, body. Why? Because apparently fucking, like Jimmy here has a huge boner for it. Because okay, yeah, he is trying to paint it in a fucking negative light. It doesn't help that he's still trying to sexualize it a little bit, which actually kind of makes the whole which makes the whole raging about it being wrong a little bit fucking guided. My God, guys. And that story, guys, that literally is the entire plot. Is Ralph has a face growing off the side of his head, and he's really in love with this, girl whose father's torturing her and hanging her off the ceiling and forcing her into kiddie porn. That is the entire plot. Is Ralph is trying to show that he loves her, and then he gets drug into the kiddie porn game, and it doesn't make a lick of fucking sense when you really begin to think about it. All three stories are linked because, first of all of them are in the same neighborhood, and there's all the fucking connection involving this angel or some such shit inside of a fucking well, and all three of them are taking advice from a talking dog with glowing fucking red eyes, who may or may not be God, may or may not be Satan, or could, as stated in the first story, simply be a messenger from God. I do not know. Not only that, this film has this massive boner for trying to tell us that God hates all of us and that God is probably not even fucking real. This thing, guys, is one of the preachiest atheist tracts I think I've ever heard, because they constantly will, take the fucking story and they will shove the story off to the side simply to tell us God does not love you. And that's literally the only reason why they fucking do it. We have fucking Christ in the film, except Christ is crucified and his head is like a burning sphere. He doesn't serve any purpose. At one point he claims he can make a wish happen, except the wish has a cost because apparently Christ was a fucking living version of a motherfucking monkey's, paw, and that goes nowhere too. Nothing in this film goes anywhere in terms of writing, and that is because the single lone lazy retard who wrote this thing doesn't know how to write. He obviously doesn't know how to fucking animate, and based on the acting, he cannot fucking direct either. Let's touch on acting, shall we? Nobody here knows how to act. I actually had hope when I was looking at the cast list, and I saw an actor's name I actually knew, and that is Trent Haga, who's worked in trauma films, has shown that he can act. The guy can act. I've seen his work before. He knows what he's fucking doing. I couldn't even tell you who he fucking plays, but that's partially because every single actor's voice has been digitally modified in just such a way so that way they all sound the fucking same. This thing, guys, has a massive cast list on the back. It sounds maybe like it's voiced by two people. However, though, we have a cast here of at least 20 names. There's no fucking way that there are 20 people voicing this and we only get two distinct sounding voices. Now, not only have the voices been digitally altered and fucked with so that way they all sound the same, which completely defeats the purpose of having a cast this big, but also when it comes to acting, everybody is either panting while they are talking, which is the case with the dog, and the case with almost every single frickin' adult. Or they're punctuating every single word with a period. So when they talk, it sounds like this. And imagine that shit. Imagine dialogue that goes that fucking slow for 5 minutes. Dialogue that goes nowhere and ends with them telling us once more that Jesus and God do not fucking love us. This entire movie was a waste of time, guys. And I haven't even touched on music yet. I have railed on the acting, I've railed on the writing, I've railed on the fucking, CG. Let's talk about the music. The music here is garbage. The music here, guys, is the kind of shit that you get from somebody who listened to a little bit of Nine Inch Nails and they think that they can emulate that, and they fail miserably. Now, that, guys, is music. What about the sound mix? Oh, dear God, let's talk about the sound mix. Let's talk about how the dialogue here, while it's all been digitally fucked around with, is also not mixed well for shit. So you guys will have one scene where you can totally hear what every single person is saying, and it sounds perfect. Then we cut to the next scene, and it's supposed to be a fucking internal monologue, except it's so muffled and quiet you can barely hear it. That, guys, is how bad the mix is in this thing. This movie is unwatchably shit, and the retard who made it should be fucking ashamed. And I would love to find Jimmy fucking Screamer, Claus here, and I would love to backhand him for making this thing. I have not threatened a filmmaker in a long time, guys, because it is kind of pointless and stupid. But you know what? If you honestly are going to make something this fucking stupid, then put it out on Blu-ray and actually think it's good. You fucking deserve to be backhanded and beaten soundly. And I want to be the one who leads said beating. This thing was shit from start to finish. There is not a single positive this movie has. Oh, one more thing when it comes to fucking CG, because I completely forgot about this. When you're going to render a film in CG, it helps if the mouth movements match what's being said. That happened with maybe 2 lines in the entire fucking movie, and those stand out like a sore thumb because the mouth actually matches what's being said. Otherwise, guys, the mouth and the tongue, and sometimes even the teeth, are randomly moving around in order to simulate what kind of sort of looks almost like a human being talking, except it looks way off like everything else in this goddamn movie. I would like to know what the fuck was going through this, what the hell was going through this asshole's mind when he finished this movie and thought, yep, good enough. I would love to fucking know. So yes, guys, can I possibly recommend this? No. Fuck this movie. This movie is... Now, this movie borders on pointless. It serves no purpose at all. It fucking sucks from start to finish. And this guy's is 91 minutes I am never going to get back. And that is nothing short of tragic. Now, Where the Dead Go to Die came off the Amazon wish list. The person who sent it in was Mage. And you can find her YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/Madam Crystal. And Mage, I thank you, because a lot of people told me that this thing was good, and that it was deep, and that it was, and that it was just such an awesome, awesome film, and that it was just something that everybody has to see. And, unfortunately, it was absolutely none of those things, but I wouldn't have known if you hadn't have sent it in, and I probably wouldn't have known I probably wouldn't have known this soon if everybody hadn't have voted this thing in 5th place. But hey, still, I thank you though for sending it in, because I was curious if this thing was going to be any good, and it clearly wasn't. Now, God damn it, this thing was shit. All right, you know what, guys? I started this expecting to watch a rather interesting shock film, and I did not get that. I'm going to go watch one of the few good shock films out there. I'm going to go rewatch a Serbian film. Anyway, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.